gonna saunter on over here. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the dungeon off Mandrel session number 4. And I wanted to do something a little bit different that started on a mandrel but then came off a mandrel. If you can master a marble, you're doing pretty good when it comes to making something perfectly round and it's not a bead. We are going to make, I love to make eyeballs, so we're going to make an eyeball today. This is a great technique to play around with a marble mold. There's a lot of different ones than this. This is just the first one I bought and I didn't need any other ones. However, I do have one that's much larger than this. I think this is like an inch or a half inch or something, but this was actually a really kind of important buy. My work starts small and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger as I go. So hopefully these lessons in off mandrel, my work will also grow and get better and better and better because I want to bring you the best stuff I can. Thanks so much for enjoying the off mandrel series. I wasn't sure if anybody was interested. If there is something that you want to see off mandrel, let me know in the comments below, because a lot of times you guys are my inspiration and there's nothing better than that. Let's make this eyeball and we will see you next time at Scottwood Research in the dungeon. Bye.
She reached over Roland's shoulder and plucked a single match from his pocket. There might be time to light one, not for two.
And on that wonderful note from the Dark Tower, we shall begin this eyeball. And the first thing I like to do is just start with the veins of the eye, and you can get a really, really fine red stringer when you do one of these little tricks here, which is just heating up about an inch of rod and until it's warm, and then you're sliding down that clear glass all around it, and then you make the pull. But the more clear you add, the thinner the red will look. So this is also a really cool technique that you can do where you just heat up, a little bit of the core glass, and then you begin to add the clear in the round. And you can see how I'm just twisting it in the round. And that's about it. It actually gives you quite a bit of clear on top. And then my clear rod becomes my punty rod. So when I make the pull, I am just giving it a few seconds to cool down, and then all of a sudden I make like the biggest pull I can make as fast as I can make it. And you'll see when I come down, it's in a loop because it was so long. And then I'll just go in and cut down all those little tiny stringers, because you will need, you'll probably need quite a few of these. I don't know why, but for some reason, the beginning of this got cut off. So really all I'm doing is I'm heating about an inch of glass and letting it flip on itself, and then heating that inch of glass and letting it flip on itself until I get the biggest amount of glass that I can get. I do this because I can get a lot of glass really quick. And then all I'm going to do here is just push half of it into the biggest marble mold. Let it cool down a little bit and just punty up to the back with your mandrel, your punty mandrel. And then I spend a little bit of time here just adding as much clear glasses, white glass as I can. And then I do flip-flop with my hands a lot with my work. And that's also helpful when it comes to working in the middle of the mandrel. But since we're on the end here, I do a lot of flip-flopping. When I think I have enough glass to make the round, I'll use that marble mold, but you see I'm still not overflowing in the mold on the first time. You want to go into the second one when it's a little cooler, and it'll help you out. Now it's time for the iris. So if you're if you're good, you can get a nice round, perfectly round iris. Don't make it too big. It's really easy to make it too big, so I always take a little bit off before I actually start gently pushing it down. And I'm gently pushing it down so the heat doesn't take over and just melt it right in. And then my final push is in the mold itself, and that's usually about it. On this technique, remind yourself to heat the back of the marble at points because this will be annealed. This is a transparent color that I'm going to add to the iris. I don't know how much effect it will give it, but it might help with a little bit of depth. It's just a lighter, almost a clear violet. And I push that down a little bit with my knife so I can also center it as I'm pushing it. So I might be pushing it slightly one way or another. And now this is the hardest part, is just getting on the pupil. I mean, if you can get this thing on dead center, props for you, because you're doing great. It takes time, you know, and this is the moment right here. You only have this one moment to really make sure it's in place, and because that's it. As soon as you heat it up, it's in there for good. And if it's out of place, just keep going. You know, you want to explore all the strange possibilities that could happen with a funky looking eyeball. Especially this ending part is really good because you're learning how to work with very tiny stringers. And in fact, what I'm doing as I'm heating and drawing the stringer on, I want you to know that the base of the bottom of the eyeball is also pretty hot enough to easily accept that stringer, so I don't have to have it so much in the flame when I lay it down. It almost wants to just melt right onto the white. But do be careful, because yes, your punty will start moving around if you spend too much time down there. So give yourself a second here and there just to let things straighten up a bit. And that'll give you time to look at what you're doing and then see if you want to add some more. I think this is looking pretty cool. I always like to go from the bottom to the top. I think it gives a better look. But going from the top to the bottom, it'll give you a different look of veins too. But look at some eyeballs, and then you can get the idea. It's very interesting how the eyeball really looks up close. And then one last, just making sure it's round in the mold. And when I go into the mold, I'm going in when it's fairly cool. You do not want to go into that mold when that glass is screaming hot, or you'll be in trouble. You might even want to watch my Moody Marble episode. So here's the important part, the punty. I just heat up my black and give it a slight pencil point, and I make sure that where I'm sticking it to is not too hot. You've got to make sure that when they touch, your punty is slightly hotter than what you're actually sticking it to. I'm not going to heat anything up except for the marble mold, because I don't want the marbles to break in a cold mold. And then I come in, notice I haven't touched it with anything yet, the punty, except for right here. I score it, I break it, I bring it up with my knife, and then I just fire polish the tip, and we are finished. Yay, eyeballs.